Since I was a high school student, I was interested in self-development. I often listened to self-development podcasts, watched motivational YouTube videos, and read books on how to become the best version of myself. Those words, the best version of yourself, used to inspire me. They made me want to be more confident, more productive, and more kind. But one night, while listening to one of those podcasts, a strange thought hit me. I asked myself, what does it really mean to be yourself? That question became the beginning of my own venture, not out into the world, but into my mind. We hear so many messages from society. Love yourself. Follow your passion. Be confident. Be authentic. They sounded beautiful, but sometimes they confused me. Instead of feeling free, I felt like I had a long list of things that I had to achieve in order to be the real me. And slowly, without noticing, those messages turned into goals to chase. I started creating an image of who I thought I should be. Someone positive, strong, always improving. But that image wasn't always real. It was polished, it was controlled, and it felt more like a performance than a reflection of who I actually was. People sometimes tell me, "You're so kind." And of course, that makes me happy. But sometimes when I'm alone, I wonder, am I kind because I truly care? Or because I want to be seen as kind? We all wear different versions of ourselves. At school, we're polite. With friends, we're funny. With family, maybe emotional. We adapt. It's part of being human. But when does adaptation turn into performance? When do we stop being authentic and start being what others expect? I started to see it in small moments. For example, when someone asks, "Are you free this day?" I sometimes said yes, even though I already had plans. Without thinking, I would rearrange my schedule, cancel something that I was looking forward to, and make their plan my priority. Not because I truly wanted to, but because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. And sometimes, even when I was tired or overwhelmed, I still found myself saying sure whenever someone asked me to do something. It wasn't because I didn't enjoy being with them. I always did. It was just that I had developed a habit of putting others first, even when I needed rest. The psychologist Carl Jung called this the persona, the social mask we wear to protect ourselves and fit into society. Sociologist Irving Goffman described life as a theater, each of us performing roles on different stages. And modern neuroscience supports this idea too. When we behave kindly, the brain releases dopamine, the chemical that makes us feel good. That's why kindness feels rewarding. It's not only moral, it's biological. So maybe kindness isn't fake, even when it's intentional. Maybe it's both real and strategic. We're weird to adapt because adaptation helps us survive. But sometimes we get so used to performing that we forget who's behind the mask. Recently, I've noticed another layer to this. Online, there's this constant stream of messages telling us what a good person should look like. Be positive. Work hard every day. Be likable. Don't show weakness. None of these ideas is bad on its own, but together, they create a quiet pressure. a feeling that we must be always improving, always cheerful, always strong. And when you see those messages every day, it's easy to start thinking. The problem is when the whole world is shouting, stay positive. We stop permitting ourselves to feel anything else. And when we're told, work hard or you'll fall behind, rest starts to feel like failure. These messages are not just advice anymore. They became standards, standards to shape our behavior before we even realize it. I remember one day a friend told me, Manami, you're so nice to everyone. I smiled and said, oh, thank you. But that night, I couldn't go to bed because deep down, I knew there were times when I said, oh, it's okay, when it really wasn't. When I smiled, even though I was tired. When I agreed, not because I believed it, but because I didn't want to cause conflict. And that made me wonder, if I keep being nice for everyone else, who was I really being kind to? Them or me? That night, I was in my room, sitting at my desk with the lights a little dim. My notebook was open, but I wasn't studying. I was just thinking. Something someone had said that day stayed in my mind. You're always so nice to everyone. It wasn't something that I felt proud of. It just made me stop, and for the first time, I started asking myself some honest, uncomfortable questions. Am I kind because it's really who I am? Or am I kind because I want people to like me? Am I choosing what feels true, or am I choosing what feels safe? I stayed at my desk for a long time. The room was quiet, and it felt like I could finally hear myself. That simple moment, just me, my desk, and my thoughts, became the turning point. It was the first time I realized that if I never look behind the mask I wear, I might forget who I really am. I noticed that authenticity isn't a fixed state. It's not something you are, it's something you practice. We often think that authenticity means being the same person everywhere. But maybe it's more about being honest with yourself in every situation. If I'm being kind just to please others, that's performance. But if I choose kindness because it aligns with my values, that's authenticity, even if it looks the same from the outside. We're not one single version of ourselves. We're a collection of them, shaped by love, hope, fear, and survival. And learning to hold all those versions with honesty, that's real growth. When I thought about it more, I realized that authenticity doesn't mean being the same person everywhere. But life doesn't work like that. Sometimes we need masks. At school, at work, in new places, masks help us stay safe, polite, and professional. They're not the enemy. The real problem is when we forget to take them off. When we wear the same mask for so long that we can't hear what we truly feel anymore. So, I started to see authenticity in a different way. It's not about being one single version of myself all the time. It's about checking in with myself and asking, is this choice honest? Does this action match my values? From the outside, kindness might look the same. But the reason behind it, fear or truth, makes all the difference. And I realized that real growth isn't about choosing one single version of myself and sticking to it. It's about learning when to wear the mask and when to gently take it off. We spend so much time trying to become someone better, But maybe the bravest thing we could do is to meet ourselves as we already are. Because real adventure isn't about changing who we are. It's about understanding who we are. And when we finally understand that, kindness, even when imperfect, becomes real. Not because others see it, but because we do. When I started practicing honesty with myself, things didn't change all at once. But small moments started to feel different. I noticed that I could finally say, I'm tired today, without feeling guilty. I could choose to stay home when I needed rest, even if someone invited me out. And I could say no with kindness, not to push people away, but to protect my own energy. These were tiny decisions, but they felt like breathing again. For the first time, I wasn't being kind just to please others. I was being kind because it felt true to me. That's when I realized something simple. Authenticity isn't a destination. It's a practice, a daily choice to listen to yourself, even quietly. And when you do that, your kindness becomes real. Not because the world sees it, but because you do. Thank you so much for your attention.